All right. This is part one of keeping your dogs off leash. I've actually done this take a few times now because I figured, I held the phone in a bad way. The sound didn't come out right, and yeah, I felt like I kind of had to redo it a little, I had to redo it. And so, yeah, here we are. We're out in the woods. I don't know, 2 miles from home, perhaps. I don't know miles that well, but I think it's about 2 miles, something like that. Out of nowhere, basically. Well, you can see it's snowmobile tracks basically everywhere. Well, there's one track now, but they go basically all over the place. A little farther down. And so my boy is up front. I don't know if you can see him. Maybe you can't. Yeah, I think you can see him. Yeah, he's up there. And my girl, she's back here. Now it's starting to become dark, and I guess the screen will shift a little bit from blue to regular, but who cares, right? So yeah, keeping your dogs off leash while you're outside in the wilderness. Now, if you've been with your dog since since day one, when you got your dog, they see you as, well, they should see you at least as the alpha in your pack. The more dogs you have, the bigger the pack you have, and if you treat them right, they should know that you are security, that you are the one who provides security for the pack. So wherever you go, they go. And my boy, he knows this. He can stray a little while, but he comes back. He always does. There's no problem. I basically never have to tell him to come back. But my girl, she's a little more self-endowed, I suppose. Just she looks to herself more. I think that's the Siberian husky thing. The Malamute looks a little more, let's say, family-oriented, and the husky a little bit more like loners, and that's fine. I have to shout at her sometimes to, come to me so we can keep going. I want to have my eye on her because we have puppies at home. And, well, if I lose her like 1 or 2 days, if that happens, that hasn't happened yet, but it can. So if I would lose her 1 or 2 days, the puppies can actually be harmed by that because they need the milk and they need the nurture from their mother. So, anyway, now expect to lose your dog, to lose track of your dog at least once or twice before you can rectify that behavior of them steering clear of, anything else but keeping their eye on you, right? Oh, this is hard terrain to walk in. I'm filming at the same time. A lot of holes to fall down into. Anyway, so yeah, basically, if you like I said, if you're the alpha in your pack with your dogs or dog, if you have one dog, it doesn't really matter how many dogs you have. I think it's better if you have more than one dog when you have them off leash because they learn from each other. So at least from what I've gathered during the time I've had this boy, she usually follows along a little bit more since I got him. And even if she's the one who tells him what to do, she usually wants to keep track of him, so she comes too. That's a good thing. It's easier. Yeah. What I would do, first off, if you want to be able to keep your dog off leash, look, I'm no expert, alright? I'm just telling you what I did and what I do, and that it seems to work. So, not all of the time, but most of the time it works. And they're young dogs. They're 2 and a 1-year-old dog, so they're young dogs. So I must be doing something right. What you can do is when you get your dog at 8 weeks, or I don't know in other countries what kind of laws you have there, but here in Sweden we have 8 weeks before you can take the puppy from the mother to its new home. And hold on, I'm just gonna fix this a little bit. So yeah, it's a little bit, it's not really that warm outside right now. It's just kind of strange. The temperature really drops when the sun goes down, right? It's that time of the year. So you should need to keep a track of these two as well. So when you come home with your dog, and well, first off, it's leash training, right? For a few weeks. And if you have a yard, put down a stick, like in the middle of the yard or whatever. Get a long rope or a line or lanyard or whatever you want to call it. And use a half choke collar, not a full choke. Not in the beginning or ever. Or like, I would never use a full choke collar. But that's just me. I mean, some people are going to say, you don't know what you're talking about, all right? And I'm just, well, I mean, scoreboard, right? For me, it works. So, yeah. And, yeah, they're down by the water. So what do? You get this long linear line, leash, whatever you want to call it, or like rope sort of thing. Not a bungee rope, just a normal kind of rope, and shouldn't be that expensive. Anyway, and to get a half choke collar. I'm gonna show you later what I mean with a half choke and not a full choke collar. I don't own a full choke collar, but you'll know what I mean when you see it. You put that on your dog, and you go out into the yard and you train. Come here, stop, and best thing is if you have a cat to train with, because usually dogs want to hunt cats. So what you can do is you put your cat in the yard, or if your neighbor has a cat, you can train with that, because the cat is fast enough to get away. But the dog is eventually going to hit the end of the line with the rope, and then you can train stop with the dog. And when the dog, and when your dog knows these commands very well, I'd say probably about 90% of the time that they know what you're saying or understand what you're saying, you should be okay. And like, do not go outside with your dog without a leash in the beginning. Never do that. Just don't trust the dog, right? I barely trust mine as it is, and it's been like 2 years. You can never trust them fully, but you can get there. Like, it'll take a while to train yourself to trust them, right? Because you care about them, right? You want them to feel, to not, hurt themselves. Or, I mean, if they would jump in the river, I would totally jump after them, because they're gonna die if they stay there for too long. So, or they will fall in or some shit. I don't know. But I would jump in after them. That's how much I care. I think most people do. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, like this is normal for me. Just drive out and just let them out of the car, and they just run all over the place, which makes it kind of easier to go out and walk them because they can run all over. It's basically a double walk or a triple walk when you go out like this, because they can just run all over the place while you just chill, right? Just go your steady pace and they just come along. You can go sniff whatever they would like. It's a good thing for them. I think they're happier this way. What I've noticed is that the Siberian husky easily becomes depressed when they're well, when you have them like in line like all the time. You shouldn't. I don't think you should do that. They are animals that wants to be free most of the time, and so I try to do that as much as I can. So when you have enough, trust in your dog, you should take it outside and you should put a line on it, like a long line, like, I don't know, 18, 25 meters. I'd say like 30 meters almost, a really long line when you go out into the woods, and you follow your dog, and you don't hold the line, just let it going, the dog will keep going and you'll just walk beside it, and when it starts running away and it runs too fast away, or you're too like up in everything else, you can grab the line, because you have like a few meters to sort of get your mind right if you want to let it go or not. And when you can trust it, that's then you can just take the line off and hope to God that your dog listens to you. I'm sorry, holding the camera is really hard. At least I'm not walking here. But yeah, I would not trust your dog, not in the beginning anyway. I mean, consistency, right? Freg, kom nu. I mean, consistency all the time. It's also like trying to teach your kids something, right? Just keep at it, focus, and stay calm. Like, if your dog would like run away, don't get all frustrated, because it can happen. All right, hold on. I'm just gonna need to change my hand a little bit. There you go. All right. So I know it's easy to panic. Like I said, I've never been through that. When I eventually let my dogs do their own thing, they have listened to me most of the time. I've gotten angry at them sometimes, and it's okay to get angry. Just don't get. I mean, maybe angry is the wrong word. You get frustrated, right? And that's all right. I mean, it's a learning process, mostly for you, I'd say, because the dog, like, it learns after a while what it should do, right? But you as an owner always have to come up with new ways to get the dog to listen to you, because eventually it's gonna throw like it's gonna shut off its ears and not listen to you when you say certain things. So you might have to change your input. After a while, you notice the dog's not listening to me anymore. Maybe I should try another word or another thing, especially from my perspective with the Siberian husky. The Malamute, I mean, he listens like I've never been through such a loyal dog when it comes to listening. But the Siberian husky is worse. I mean, they're really, you have to like come up with new things all the time if you're gonna have them off leash. Kom då, Frigg! You see, I have to kind of call her every once in a while. She's not really feeling well in her stomach as well, so she's a little off. I think this is all the puppy crap she eats. Yes, they eat it. They eat the crap from the puppies. And they lick the pee. It's disgusting. But it's nature. Nature's disgusting, right? Anyway. So there's not really much to say about that. Just be consistent. And when the dog's doing something wrong, you tell them that they're doing something wrong. You can never, ever, just let it go. Never do that. Because when you do it once, they will do it again. They'll never listen to you again. If you ever let it go, especially when it comes to these dogs, from my perspective. Like, I'm talking from my perspective now, because these are the only dogs I've owned myself. And every dog is different. Every owner is different. I can't say that, like, look, I work a normal job. They're home in my dog yard all day, and I come home and I'm with them all day until we go to sleep, and then the next morning I go out with them to do a thing, and they end up in the dog yard, and they're there in the dog yard all day. Sometimes not, but most of the time they're alone in the dog yard, and I come home and it starts all over again, right? I'm sorry, I'm mucus in the mouth and shit. So I'm gonna hold on. There you go. God, I think that you don't want to look at me all the time. You want to see the dogs, not me. I'm pretty sure that's what you want to see. Yeah. Yeah, you don't want to see the ugly. You want to see the cool. So, I mean, it took for me. My Siberian Husky was my first dog. I've had her for 2 years now. About 2 years. It took about 6 months, I think it was, something like that, until I started letting her off leash in my yard. I started with her in my yard, not out in the woods, because, I mean, I was so afraid that something would happen, you know. We have a lot of cats in our area where I live, so maybe it would have been better to just I don't know, go into the woods or some shit. But anyway, I did it in my yard, and we learned the hard way. Like, I'm not gonna lie, we had a few scraps, let's say. It was not an easy thing to do with the Siberian, as I thought it would be. No, I knew it wasn't gonna be easy, but damn, girl, she really did her number on me. I mean, I have to run after her like a few times. We had a few dogs, more dogs than we have now in the area as well. And when they get, my neighbor had a dog. Another neighbor of mine have a dog, and when they go outside, they wanna, they wanna run after that dog. They smell them, and then it's like, oh, they're outside, and they wanna go after them. And sometimes that doesn't really work when you say stop, and you're gonna have neighbors that kind of understands the situation, that sometimes your dog comes running and you're not far behind if they do. And so that's a good tip right there. Talk to your neighbors. If your dog would get loose somehow, that they try to hold the dog, or if you have a real nice dog, or if they can hold the dog and they call you, and so you know where your dog is. So yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's not much to say actually. It's not that, if you keep consistent, it's not that hard. And they're way out there now. They're running really far. Can't see him now. But you know, if you panic in a situation like this, dogs just run away. They will wait for you. Just don't panic. Just walk your slow pace. I mean, have you ever seen like the alpha moves slowly, all right? The alpha is not a fast dog or a wolf or whatever you want to call it. The alpha is a slow dog. It doesn't need to be fast because it knows it's the alpha. It has all the power. Look, there they are. I don't know if you can see them, but you probably can. They stopped. And so I'm gonna stop the video right here. I've gone on for 20 minutes. Feels like I've just talked shit really, but so I did this video because, well, we got a litter at home, and this is basically for the people who is gonna get a puppy from the litter. And I was just thinking that maybe to some people who haven't owned Siberian Huskies or Malamute before, this might help, and hopefully other people out there that want to be able to do this themselves. So yeah, any questions, just you're free to comment. And yeah, she found a bone out in the woods. She dug it up. This is typical Siberian Husky behavior. Find bones everywhere. Look, she's already bad in the stomach. She's gonna be like, this is gonna be bad. I gotta take this away from her. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I guess I'll see you later. All right, bye.